Good morning everyone, welcome to the EduSat Network. Today we are going to discuss media research ethics. And for this discussion, we have with us in the studio Dr. Devesh Kishore, former professor at IIMC, and he has also played an instrumental role in heading various journalism and mass communication institutes across India. We welcome you, sir. Thank you for being here.
Well, today we will have a discussion on a very important topic, media research ethics. Every profession has got its own ethics. In the same way, a researcher, especially a media researcher, have to follow certain ethics in the job itself. Like doctors, you must have heard of, there are ethics for them. Lawyers, there are ethics for them. Any profession. Journalism is a professional subject, and therefore a researcher, a media researcher, has to follow certain ethics. Today's discussion will be based on it. We will also review the ethics which are being followed in other countries of the world, especially in US. We will also have discussions that how these ethics can be taken care of while doing the research. Now, first question is, what is ethics? Is moral ethics? Is value or values are ethics? Actually, codes and principles of moral behavior is said to be ethics. As a researcher, what is your responsibility towards the respondents, towards the interpretation and its presentation? So we say codes and principles of moral behavior are the ethics of a research worker. It means we must know what are our principles of media research and what are its basic codes. Some students, persons get confused between morals and ethics, because most of them are similar in nature. Whether they are related with good or bad, right or wrong, but they are interchangeably used in the text to refer proper conduct. So moral and ethics are basically having reference with the conduct which the researcher has to follow. But there is a line of distinction between ethics and moral. Ethics are usually taken for referring general principles of what one ought to do. As a researcher, what you are supposed to do, that principles related to that situation are the ethics. While moral, when you talk of moral, they are concerned whether or not a specified act is consistent with the accepted notion of right or wrong. Let us take an example to understand this point of ethics and moral. Ethics says that a research worker should not disclose any information which he has collected for his research purpose. But when it comes a question of morals, in some countries, in some places, we find researchers identify the respondents. The morals can differ from country to country, place to place, situation to situation. But ethics says that your research findings should be reliable, valid, objective. Now, these are the principles. Nobody can say that your finding should not be valid, or your finding should not be reliable, or your finding should not be objective. That is accepted and that is approved and that all over the world by all the research workers. But disclosing the name of the respondents or disclosing certain things, they are moral value system. Somewhere you may like to disclose, somewhere you may not like to disclose. Or somewhere respondents may not will say to you that please don't quote my name, or don't write my name, or I will not sign the document. Now that is from individual, and as a researcher you will have to follow those moral system. So I think now the concept is clear. Code and principles of moral behavior are known as ethics. When it comes to difference between ethics and moral, ethics are the codes or principles. As I gave the example, the reliability of your research project findings, validity of your research findings are the ethics. And morals, whether you disclose the name or not disclosing the name, that are your morals. So therefore, now we should come, what are the code of ethics? That is, a researcher should follow certain standards of professional behavior. These standards of professional behavior, because he is a journalist, a researcher, he has got certain professional behavior. Why a person call you a media researcher? Because they know that you have knowledge about the media and you also have been conducting research studies related with media as a profession. So ethics are the standards of the professional behavior. Whatever behavior you are showing, these standards of that are called the ethics. These guide researchers from time to time in planning, conducting and finding the solution of the problems are facts. So these guidelines are given to the researcher that please follow these guidelines while you are planning the project, conducting the research, or you are reaching to conclusions or solutions. Now, this is the guideline which may be given by a research organization to you, and then you follow it. Now that becomes the ethics. Then second thing is technical competence must be combined with ethical obligations. What does it mean? That means the research worker must be technically competent to develop the research tools. Suppose he or she is developing a questionnaire, he or she must know how a questionnaire is prepared. Or let us say they are trying stratified random sampling, then they must know how to draw a stratified random sample. That is technical competence. Or while analyzing the data, if you are using t-test or correlation, R value, or F-test, then you must know how these tests to be applied. That is technical competence. So researcher must have good technical competence related to the research project. If he or she doesn't have the technical competence, then there could be problems related to the research results. So Code of Ethics says any person who wants to do the research must develop the technical competence. That's what we all emphasize. Any researcher must first develop the technical competence before jumping to the problem and trying to solve it. So that is technical competence to be taken care of. There are 5 very important ethical principles to which a communicator research or communication research worker must adhere to. Now these are written down, explained to him, and he is supposed to follow these 5 principles. First principle, which I just talked to you, professional competence. I find, maybe my observation may be wrong, there are some research workers who are not professionally competent. They just enter into the research area without developing the competence. Of course, now educational bodies, including the University Grants Commission, has made it compulsory that anybody who wants to do research must undergo a 6 months course on research. So now if anybody is admitted to PhD program, first 6 months or 5 months or first semester, he or she will have to study the research system so that professional competence is developed. I think that is the most important point. Never enter into a profession without developing a competence. Even if you want to become sub-editor, or even if you want to become a TV producer, first thing is you must develop the competence. Otherwise, you will not be able to do the justice with your work. Second principle is integrity. I think in all the profession, integrity is very important. You must be very honest with your profession. Third is professional and scientific responsibility. When you are doing research in the area of media, you are a media professional and then you are a researcher. Now you will have to take care of both the responsibilities. Then only you are a media researcher. Fourth is respect for people's right, dignity and diversity. As a researcher, don't put words into their mouth. Let them freely express and also keep their dignity in mind. If they don't want to disclose their name, don't disclose it, because that is their right as an individual. So keep the individual's right, respondent's right, their diversity and dignity. And fifth important principle is social responsibility. As a researcher, you are a member of the society. You will have to always keep in mind the social responsibility. Maybe your research result may be saying something, but you cannot run away from social responsibility. Sometimes it happens that results, if they are declared immediately without proper background and all that, it might affect the society. Therefore, you have to keep in mind that as a researcher, my responsibility is that I must see that research results do not affect adversely the society or create havoc in the society. These care has to be taken. So these are the 5 principles all over the world, no exception. A researcher has to follow. So that's what I said, principles. So principles have to be followed as an ethics wherever you are, whatever research you are doing in, whatever subject you are doing, not only in media but any subject or any profession, you will have to follow these important principles. Now come to the standard professional ethics. Especially in case of media researcher, what has been discussed by the number of people to work out a standard, I think you will find everywhere. First thing is always related with the technical standards or technical competence. That is, as I mentioned earlier, if you are going to do the research, you must know the research designs, samplings, development of research tool, statistical techniques. Unfortunately, in this country, about 4 or 5 years back, it was kept as an optional. Many students whom I came across, when I used to ask them about research designs, or even research workers, and about statistical techniques, they were blank. I used to surprise how he is going to do the research when he is not knowing the statistical techniques to be used, when he doesn't know how to develop a research tool. I think that's what happened in this country, that 5 years back, 6 years back, researches have been done without proper competence, which includes the technical standard of the research. Our researchers have not been able to reach to that height. Second important standard is avoid conflict of interest with funding agencies, administration and managers. They are funding agencies, they say we will fund your project, research project, and this should be the result which should come out. No, that is not true. Well, then why are you doing research? You should write yourself the report. But if I am a standard professional researcher, I will not agree. I will say no, sorry. If you want me to conduct the research, I will come out what the research results are. I will not go to modify them. If you want to do research, please understand that whatever the results will come, you will have to accept. And I know in many funding agencies, therefore they do not give the research project to outside agencies. They get themselves done. Now that is not a correct thing. Then why are you doing research? What is the use of research? Then you perhaps organize a PR campaign or publicity instead of getting the research, and you will see nowadays in the newspapers some these types of researches are there. Third, which is standard which has to be followed, is the confidentiality. At all the stages of the research must be maintained. Why? Because somebody is going to be affected by your research results. Therefore, biases, your own feelings, they have no place in research. And maintain the confidentiality every time. Next standard is no discrimination of whatsoever should be allowed. If I am going to follow some discrimination, other day I was seeing a research report and I find that data was collected only with the higher socioeconomic strata. They quickly pick up the telephone, rang up certain people, got their opinions and say this is the result. Now, how can you say? People who are having telephones, they belong to a certain group of society. So therefore your sampling is wrong. That should be taken care of. You should see that there is no discrimination, or even there is no exploitation or harassment made for the researcher. Researcher should be given freedom. No terms and conditions should apply to him. Otherwise, the research results are going to be affected. Then avoid the plagiarism. These are the important standards which have to be kept. Now we come to the respondent, because the respondent is the main crux of your research study. A media researcher is studying what? Is studying the respondents. In physical researches, you may be working with the physical things, maybe with chemicals, maybe with general type of fixed things, but here human beings are involved, respondents are involved. Therefore, you have responsibility of explaining to respondent. Don't just go to him and start asking questions. No, first you establish your rapport and take his consent directly or indirectly. So the consent is very important from the respondent. What are the important points in consent? You must explain him what is purpose of your research. Why are you conducting this research? How it's going to benefit the people? How results are going to be used? Explain the questions for proper understanding. Seek the prior permission to collect the information. Respect their right to answer or not to answer certain questions. Don't force them. Don't go on pressurizing. No, he has got his own right, whether he may answer your question, whether he answers your question or not answer your question. Of course, you can say, well, this is a very important question of the study. If you miss this, if you don't give the answer of this question, my study will be affected, and how it's going to be beneficial to us. That you should explain to him. But respect remains with the respondent. If he does not give the answer, even then just don't criticize him, because that is right. So these are the 5 important points initially, and there are 5 more points for the consent. 6th point is respect their culture, moral and religious values, etc. What does it mean? You may be coming from other culture as a researcher. You may have certain value system. You may have certain moral values system with you, or religious. But you must respect the respondent's cultural system, moral system, religious value system. You should not criticize them, oh, you are not, this is not good for the society and all that. That is not your cup of tea. You are not going there to criticize them, but you are collecting the information. 7th point is don't get involved in unnecessary discussion with the respondents. I have sometimes observed that researcher gets involved unnecessary with the respondent. Why should you get involved? Because once you get involved, then he may hide some information, he may not give you the information. So as a researcher, you should stick to your research information. Number 8, while collecting the information, keep the respondent in good humor or good honor, so that he feels I am important as a respondent. I am giving him the information. And once he feels that he is important in this whole study, then he will try to give you the information to the best of his knowledge and understanding. Number 9, if the respondents do not want to disclose their identity, they don't want to tell, then give the code number. And from code number you can identify any time who is the person. For example, if I am sending questionnaire to 200 people, I must be sending to some certain address. So I should number the questionnaire. Number 8 is going to this person, number 9 is going to this person. So they may not know, but you will know that this questionnaire has come back from serial number 11 and this 11 number is this person. So this is an indirect way of coding. You code the questionnaire so that if there is a need to further analyze and understand, you will be able to know. 10th is, researcher should communicate the tentative date about the research results. It should not happen somebody come and collect the data and say forget about it. When it will come, the result will come. Because the person who is giving you the information, he is also interested in the study. If he is not, he will not give you the information, or he will just give a casual information to you. But once he is involved as a respondent, then he is interested to know when the results will come out. So these are the important points on which the consent is to be collected from the respondents. These are not the only consents. There may be some more consents which may be related to your research study. What I have told here, generally these are the consents which must be taken care of while you are conducting the interviews, information, sending them schedules or sending them questionnaires, using schedules, general thing. But the list can be modified, it can be added, it can be subtracted. The purpose is, respondent is very important. He must be taken into consideration all the times, because he is the person who is giving you the information. Without him, no research study can be conducted. Then let us say what American Association of Public Opinion Research, I have just taken out from their booklet how American Association for Public Opinion Research feels about it. They say, number 1, principles of professional practice and conduct. So they have divided the guidelines into parts. First main part is principles of professional practice while conducting. In that he says, the researcher must take due care in gathering and processing data to assure the accuracy of the result. I think everybody will agree with this, that we must take care in gathering and processing both as a researcher. And that can only be done if you are technically competent. You can gather the information if you know the research tools, if you know their limitation, advantages, disadvantages, which tool to be used in gathering the information and processing the data, which methodologies to be used, which are the statistical tests to be used, then you will be able to give accurate results. If you don't know, you can't do that. Next, describe findings and methods accurately in appropriate details. Whatever research report you are writing, in that your methodology, your findings, its techniques must be given so that who reads the report will be able to understand that what methodology was used, what sampling technique was used, what was the time when the data was collected, how it was collected, how it has been processed, what statistical tools have been used, all that information. So this information must be given in your report. That's why we have prescribed an outline for those who are media researchers, that you follow these outlines. Then next is care in development of research and design. Research design and analysis which you are going to develop, you have to take care of it. What are the cares you have to take? Recommend and imply only those research tools and methods of analysis which are suited to the research problem. This is a big question. Some people unnecessarily use T-test or Z-test or this test and that test while they are not required. This is just like in medical profession, some new doctor writes so many tests and then people make a fun, he writes the test because his lab has to be run. It's not required to be done. So that is professionally not correct. Right? Use only those tests, use only those research tools which are meant for the research problem. Number two, do not select research tools which might give you misleading conclusions. For example, if you want to study the behavioral pattern of a family, then questionnaire will not work. Then you have to adopt another method, case study method, observational methods. So certain methods are useful for certain situations, other methods are not that useful for that particular type of research. So selection of research tools and methods of analysis is very important. Proper tools must be selected. This is American Association. I have already discussed earlier what we feel about the standards, code of ethics to be followed. But here is an example of American Association. Third point, they say under the care, not knowingly make interpretations which are inconsistent with the data available. You have some data available, and if you are making interpretation, it should be consistent with the data. Data says something and you are giving interpretation something. Maybe because you were in that situation and you observed certain things. This has been observed in certain studies. You have no business giving that information which is not consistent with the collected data. You should not be biased, as I was mentioning. You have to take care of that. Then, principles of professional responsibility with the people. American Association has developed a good chart for the ethics, and people appreciate it. But that is too much in detail. But nothing wrong in it if the information is given in detail. So this is a professional responsibility of a researcher with the people. Number one is the public. Cooperate with the authorized representatives of the public by describing methods used. That means the public must know, your respondents must know why you have selected a particular method. Or describe them the methods. I have used this method. There could be some other methods for collecting the information. But I feel because of these reasons, this method suits to my study. Number two, when you become aware of distortions in the research, distortions means some information which the respondents are giving, and you come to know that they have cooked the information, they have given you the wrong information, then you should become aware of it. Because there is no point in collecting the wrong information or cooked information by the respondent. And if possible, you tell them. I give you a very interesting example. We were collecting data from the respondents, and we said how much land you have, what crops you are growing, how you are selling the crops, how much you are getting and all that. So we collected all this information, and then we asked him, what is your income per annum? He said, no sir, where is my income? I don't get any, I don't have any income. Now he is trying to hide it. We said, no, we are not income tax people to find out your income, but we are trying to find out that to which level of economic strata you belong to, and therefore we are asking. So it gave very, sketchy information, maybe very, just hand to mouth. But when we worked out the land he had, crop he has, crop he is selling, rate and everything, we find he is earning a lot of money. So what happens that sometimes distortions come in the research because the respondent is not disclosing or he is not giving. Either you collect indirectly, and indirectly you will get the information correctly if you are interested in that, or try to ask him some more questions when you are going for interview, if you have adopted interview method. Because questionnaire method, if you are adopt in this case, you will not get the proper results. There are certain sensitive informations which people don't want to give in writing. So you must take care of that. Number two, client and sponsors. This is very important. Who are sponsoring your research? Who are funding your research project? Now they are giving you certain terms and conditions. Sometime they are giving you, saying that confidential information about client's business should not be revealed. If some organization, let's say Hindustan Times, wants to know or study about the type of patterns of advertisements coming in the newspaper, now you may be getting some confidential information while analyzing. You will know so many advertisements have come for this much of area of advertisement, they charge so much money, and you can calculate the whole thing. But that is a confidential information which you should not disclose, that Hindustan Times is earning so much money from the advertisement, because they are the sponsors. So therefore, care must be taken that unless it is essential or it is in the interest of the public, if suppose, then you can give the information. Second thing is, accept research assignments when you can do it. Don't accept research assignment which cannot be done, because they are so complicated, data will not be available. I know number of students' projects, they fail because they say no, we will get this information, but they don't get the information from the organization. They don't want to reveal, then your project fails. So therefore, first you find out whether the related information about the project will be available or not, or that information has been erased and you can't reach to that information. So that care has to be taken. Now the C part is the profession, because you are member of the professional group, you are a media researcher. Therefore, in our country, of course, there are not bodies which certify that you are a professional researcher. I have not come across, except that a person has done the PhD, a person who has experience of doing research for a number of years, then we say confidently, yes, he is the person who has developed professional competence in research. So the idea is that the person who is doing the research must be professionally competent, and then that can be checked either on the basis of his experience in the area, or that type of work done by him or her, and then you can say, well, this is the way how he is a person who is a recognized professional. Or I find there are now professional groups coming up, research groups, who have made their name by doing good researches. Like we have Institute of Public Opinion, a big institute doing very good research, or another institute, Press Institute of India, they are going to do research, or Institute of Mass Communication. The point is, there are now institutes and organization, or Operational Research Group  they are now establishing themselves in the market. Some of them are already established, people know them, they are the good groups of research and they have research workers with them, they can take the studies. So they are recognized. The important thing is the persons who are working in this profession should be able to contribute in the research and should come out with their research reports by which they can be recognized that they are professionals in this field. Otherwise, how do you recognize them? So, media professional means a person who has already done a research related to the media, either impact studies or survey studies, but they are all related to media. Then the fourth component is the respondent. We have discussed about respondent, but let us say what American Association for Public Opinion Research says. It says that respondent should not lie to survey respondents. That is the responsibility of the respondent. Otherwise you say, no, well, I am not going to give you the information. No, that is your responsibility. If once you have agreed as a respondent to give the answer of those questions which the researcher wants, then don't give him the wrong information. If you don't want to give, say, well, I will not give information. I am not interested in the studies. I don't want to be part of this study, and therefore you may take the help of other respondents. Well, good enough, honest. But agreeing and giving wrong information, that will damage the whole study. Or you tell the surveyor or researcher that please keep my all information confidential. Don't disclose to anybody. I am giving you the correct information, but I don't want this information to be shared by anybody. I am giving only to you for your research project. And don't quote my name, don't give my information to anybody else, use it only for your research. If they don't want to disclose their names, then keep their names confidential. Otherwise, if their names are disclosed, then they will hide the information, they will not give you the full information. So it's better that you must take the permission of the respondent and explain your project well. That's what is very important. So I think these were their American Association. Now let us summarize. On the basis of American Association, on the basis of the discussions I had with you, some of the points which are mentioned by the professional. Now again, this list may not be complete, but I tried to put everything into it so that to a greater extent it is complete. And I need not to repeat it again, but I will just mention it. I will not explain them further. First, I have ensured the respondents have given their consent. That is very important. That you first establish your rapport with the respondent, make him friendly, explain about your project, where the research data will be used. All that information should be given to him, which will ensure that they will give you the consent about the information. Number 2, confidentiality and consciousness. I have been repeatedly saying because many respondent wants confidentiality. They mention that please keep my information confidential. Everybody is afraid of income tax. People are their competitors, that my information may be leaked out. So confidentiality and their conscious, somebody say, well, my conscience does not allow this. Or my conscience says it should be done like this. So therefore, confidentiality and consciousness are very important component. Third, of course, honesty. Both of them should be honest. Fourth, competence. We have discussed enough on competence, technical competence, research competence. We have discussed. Then objectivity, very important. Integrity, I think everybody will say yes. Validity, reliability are other important components. Generalizability. What does generalizability means? It means you should be able to collect that type of data which could be generalized, or interpretation can be done. Otherwise, what is the use of collecting that data? Then reproducibility, can you reproduce it again? Then carefulness, whether you have done everything carefully. I think all these points are not that easy to follow. There are problems in following all the points, but to maximum extent you should try to follow. That is very important thing which care has to be taken. You can add to this list, as I said earlier, you can reduce the list, whatever. But as a researcher, as a media researcher, you must, if you are doing research yourself, you are an individual, you write down your own code of ethics. If it is an organization, then that organization must write down code of ethics for researcher. So anybody joining that group as a researcher must know that these are the things I have to take care of. I have yet to see many departments, research departments, giving a copy of code of ethics to their research workers, are taking some time to explain them that these are the standards, professional standards you have to follow. But that is very important. Now let us discuss. There are certain deviations from research practices. Which you will observe, which should be avoided. If there are deviations, then you must explain them. Why there are deviations? For example, using an inappropriate statistical technique. As I said, t-test, Fisher's t-test, student's t-test. If you are using a Fisher t-test, why are you using it? Or when you are using chi-square test, why are you using it's appropriate or inappropriate? If it is inappropriate, then deviation, why are you taking that deviation, must be explained. making a careless review of the literature. This is another point. That what research studies have already been done. People just haphazardly organize the review of literature. No findings are there, or you will find the author's name is missing, or year is missing, or where the research has been done is missing. Now these are the problems. Then failing to keep good research records. That means you are using some register or somewhere and you are going with the piece of paper and just forget here and there. That's not good. Failing to maintain research data for a reasonable period of time. After the research report is written and you throw away all the data. No, that is not good. Somebody want to check the data or may like to reuse the data, because data is very important. So it should be kept, preserved by the organization for a reasonable period of time. Derogatory comments and personal attacks have no place in the report. That should not be done. That is not the purpose of the research. Then, when you want to publish your report, you should not reject a manuscript for publication without even reading it. I have seen these research reports collecting dust in the almirahs of the organization. Nobody has even opened them. Nobody has read them. Nobody has published them. Then what is the use of research? Once the research has been done, it should be properly published. It should be known to the people that this is the research which organization should take care of it, individual should take care of it, get it published, or at least circulate it, so that the efforts which have been made by the researcher are put to a good use. They are not meant for collecting the dust in the almirah. Then overworking, neglecting, all that should be avoided, because research is a very noble profession, very important profession. All this, whatever we are making use of technology or making use of certain things, it is because of the research. R&D is very important. If R&D is not properly done, then the profession will not grow. Same thing in media researchers. If they have not been able to do proper research and not followed the research ethics, then you know the results, what will come out. Thank you very much. This will give you an idea. Nowadays I am seeing number of public opinion polls which are being published in the newspaper, and you must also have been seeing it. And then you will find, if there, I was seeing other day a table on public opinion results, 6 organizations have done it, and all are different. Why they are different? Why results are different and different too much? It means there has been some improper, professional competence is not there, research design is not proper, sampling may have not been done properly, questionnaire or tool must have not been designed. Because why it will happen that 6 people conducting research on opinion poll and getting different results?
Right, sir.
I think that care has to be taken, and that is why we say media research ethics.
Right.
It should be followed.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. So friends, today we discussed media research ethics, under which we discuss a lot many subheadings such as difference between ethics and morals, the code of ethics, ethical principles. We also looked at the guidelines by the American Association for Public Opinion Research, amongst many. So I hope that this will be useful to all the viewers watching. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, sir, for being here. Hope you all have a nice day.